we actually have some breaking news as of today. You can go check it out. It's up on the League of Legends subreddit on Twitter, elsewhere. Team Liquid is going to bring in mid laner Mickey, and this is very strange given that they've had a pretty good weekend. Emily, are you okay?
Before I respond to the very good weekend thing, I need to know why Emily's dying laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mickey.
Mickey is a really funny player.
Okay. It's just enough that like the laugh.
Yeah, so like
I mean, Mickey's history in and of itself is really hilarious because he started off where he was like one of the highest non-signed players in Korean Challenger in 2014 when the Chinese were just starting to get on the import bandwagon. And he was a mid-lane Lee Sin one-trick. So they imported this guy without doing like any research other than the fact that he was super high signed on the ladder. And the first game they played him as a jungler in his first professional game because he played Lee Sin. And that did not go well at all. So he became like a mid laner, and that's how he became a mid laner. And I think that could kind of tell you right off the bat a few things about Mickey.
he is. It's just the whole decision really is a bit baffling to me.
Yeah.
He's like a player who basically can like actually still in today's League of Legends single-handedly lose you a game and single-handedly win you a game. And I feel like that's actually really rare nowadays. He's just like really inconsistent, hyper aggressive, always up in lane, does weird stuff that absolutely makes no sense, doesn't pay attention to vision, didn't even really know how to play mid lane that well, like in terms of like minion waves and vision control or any of that stuff until arguably sometime last year. He is known for being one of the few mid laners who can kind of like hold his own against Faker in lane, even though he's like really reckless.
I feel like that's not even a big thing anymore. I feel like half of the competitive mid laners can hold their own against Faker and Lin. Like,
it's just like it's really baffling to me that Team Liquid would pick up Mickey, and not just because I know a lot of people's initial reaction is like, well, this is hilarious because they're just coming off of their best week and they seem to have found some stability, and Golden Glue is not performing poorly. So why bring in Mickey? And obviously this, the signing must have happened not today, but previously. I'm sure they've been in talks. But the thing to me that's still really baffling is that what Team Liquid seems to need is like any semblance of consistency, right? And Mickey is such an inconsistent player and will never be a consistent player. Like he was at his most consistent last year, and it was still negotiable. It's like going from like no consistency to like a 1 on a scale of 0 to 10. Like he's just, I don't understand.
What makes you say he can never be a consistent player?
Because he's played the same way for years.
Maybe he's just waited.
It's the award-winning Team Liquid coaching staff is going to.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say maybe all he needed was North America and Team Liquid to make him a consistent player.
All right, I'm gonna get flamed already for just supporting Team Liquid a little bit in this decision, so I'll just put the shirt up already, put it on because I knew this was coming. I will say that like you can argue about whether or not Mickey is a player that they should sign just due to like consistency problems, and like does he even speak English and these other concerns that are going to come up.
As far as I know, he does not.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I feel like given that fact that like when you read that interview they did not stress good English skills, you can probably take that to be that means he does not have good English skills if you're not going to highlight that.
There was so like this is I guess tangentially related. There was a video that someone did where he interviewed a couple of the Africa players last split when they were trying to go to Worlds, and they were kind of this surprising team. And they had Songyun and Snowflower, and they tried to speak English pretty well, and they were like, okay. And Mickey's was not nearly as good. So
Okay, so yeah, obviously Mickey can't speak English well then most likely. All that aside, like given that it is the middle of summer split, you are going to be hard pressed to find like any talent that you would want to import of like any caliber. And my guess on the Team Liquid side is just like you probably started like the process of this acquisition like week 3, week 4, when you're like getting shit on. You put Slushie in, he sucks ass too, and you're just like, well, our team blows. Like, what's the worst that could happen by like bringing this guy over? We have a mountain of money, so like it's not like a big cost to us in terms of like, oh, can we afford to do this? And then like if he does come over and perform, great, you can maybe keep him for 2018. And if he sucks and it's just a waste of time, well, great, you guys are getting crapped on anyways. So I can kind of a little bit understand that. I just don't know why they didn't make this move at the start of the split, but we already hit on that a lot about like why bring the same 5 players back.
What does this mean for their other imports?
Well, they were saying in the ESPN article that the plan would be to bench Reignover, use Inori, and put Mickey in the mid lane.
Which is, so for me, I would disagree with that decision for a few reasons. But I think the primary one is that Inori himself is not known for being a particularly consistent. Like, it's like having 2 very reckless players together.
The patch is finally good for Reignover again.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of their problem, is they signed this super expensive player allegedly, and he wasn't really like in meta in terms of his champion pool or just what he wanted to do generally. And then now suddenly we get this patch that allows him to play like a ton of tank junglers, and like Gragas, like Fnatic played all those disengaged comps and everything else. They're playing Inori, so it's like they have the same problem all over again. It's good.
I do feel bad for Team Liquid's accountant, because you just like, I love the idea that like Reignover reportedly just like the most expensive by a huge amount player in the LCS, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna bench him. We're just gonna put him on the sidelines.
One thing I will say, and why I think this patch might be overrated for Reignover, is just because it's a lot of like different tank junglers, and he is not good at picking up new champions, really at all. So like,
sure,
like yes, he can play Gragas and he can play Olaf, but like, can he play Cho'Gath? Can he play Maokai? Can he play Zac? He's still playing Elise. Like a lot of their wins came on Elise and Gragas, which are like in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's like even his worst problem, to be honest, too. So it's just a really long, complicated issue if you want to get into Team Liquid's jungle situation.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is that like, I don't think it's a surprise that like the first weekend that Team Liquid, or like one of the 2 weekends Team Liquid's actually aggressive, is like when this move has probably been coming for like a while and it's finally confirmed. Like, I don't think the fact that they're actually making moves now as a team is like, oh, they're figuring it out. It's like they're probably just like, fuck it, let's actually make plays, because previously they would get like 3K gold leads off punishing an enemy doing something dumb, and then they would just sit there and slowly bleed out. So like, I'm not convinced that like, oh, they figured it out, and now like this is going to hurt their synergy. I think it's like they have synergy now because this move made them not care.
And their wins weren't even like off of improved figuring it out kind of play. It was probably just off of like teams sort of being lulled almost into the sense of complacency. It's like, okay, we're going to push out the lane. We're going to do the, why are they there?
Yeah.
And just get and randomly dying. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm not convinced that like the sudden Team Liquid uptick is like even reliable, given the fact that we have a split and a half of them not working out. That like 2 weeks is not going to make me convinced that this is like bad. Now whether or not the Mickey move is a good move is a separate issue, which I'm more on Emily's side about that one.
Okay,
I just think it's hilarious that a team that has had problems finding any sort of consistency signs like one of the most inconsistent players I know.
So it sounds like the panel universally feels as though this was a bad or poor or silly decision from Team Liquid.
I think, okay, I'm going to draw a loose connection between something else that happened recently which was Doctor Who got a new doctor. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And everyone had a huge outcry, right? Because the doctor was female. But I don't even think that that was the thing. And this isn't everyone. It's just some people, like a group of people. And then some of the writers left allegedly because of this decision. I don't even think it was because of the female doctor necessarily, right? I don't even think it was because they made the doctor female. It was because the writing for the Doctor Who series has been so bad for so long that any decision they make, okay, people are instantly just going to question and be like, this seems like you don't understand what's wrong with the show. You don't understand the problems that is going on with the show, and you're just like trying to do something really drastic to make people like happy or to evoke some sort of interest in the show. And it feels similar. It feels like Mickey is the female doctor. So that's my, and so it feels almost like no matter what decision TL make at this point, people are going to be like, okay, this is going to go poorly, because so far their track record of decisions is really bad, and that's the fundamental problem, not necessarily this particular move. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's another decision in a long line of decisions that shows that I don't think they have any idea of like what is wrong with their team. I just find it, I don't even know if it's I'm not even condemning the decision necessarily. It is just hilarious to me.
Kelsey, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, like, yeah, they are consistently bad, so go bring in an inconsistent player. Like, who cares? Maybe it works. I think most people have given up on 2017 TL, and, like, if this gives them a potential option in 2018, like, whatever.
Kelsey, how would you fix Doctor Who? Because if we could fix Doctor Who, then we could fix Team Liquid.
I mean, they fired a lot of the writers, but I don't know a lot about the situation. So they fired a lot of the writers apparently, or a lot of the writers left. I'm not clear, but like one of the worst ones apparently is now the showrunner. So feels like that might not work.
Okay.
We're good.
Well, there goes that plan. All right, so moving on.